Hi, this is Tyrone and Marcella Jackson again with Inner Wealth, and we just wanted to drop a very quick video about the Trump election. Congratulations, Donald Trump. We were supporting you, and we're really appreciative. We really appreciate what it is that you're trying to offer this country, and we want to actually speak to Black people and to the rest of Americans by extension. But there are some principles that we share through the inner wealth that are really relevant here, because people create misery and generational poverty and generational suffering, because of lack of understanding of natural law, because of lack of understanding of history, because of lack of understanding of their own power. And in this powerlessness, or this state of powerlessness or victimhood, um, they end up literally creating a situation of slavery for themselves. And this is the situation that I recognize as being, or has been promoted over the
Mm-hmm.
last 8 or 10 years in America. It used to be when Donald Trump actually won with his acceptance speech, he said something that literally made me cry because I hadn't heard anyone talk like this. Um, excuse me, at least for the last 8 or 10 years. And he says there is no dream too big. There is no goal too far. There is nothing too big that we can't accomplish. And this aspirational idea that we can become more than what we are today, that we can accomplish every dream, is something that is at the heart of the inner being because it bears witness to the limitless potential. Now, if that wouldn't really make that much sense if I didn't speak to what the alternative to that is. And the alternative to that was actually really embodied in Hillary Clinton's campaign and as well as in President Obama's administration, and to an extent George Bush as well. But it is this tendency to address and to appeal to the victim within everyone. That
Yeah.
is a really big, really big issue.
Mm-hmm.
People, when you reward people for being victims instead of victors, or when you reward people for being victims, you're not actually inspiring them to rise and to increase their value of themselves, to rise, to overcome their situation. And what we found is that the more that you reward victims, the deeper people will become identified with the state of victimhood.
So it carries hatred.
Ah,
It carries all of those negative aspects versus if you're coming from an empowered place, like for an example, knowing that America is great or knowing that yourself is great, you know, and not coming from that state of victim. It's just it's coming from a different state of being.
right. This is the inner one. Let me give you an example, just on a practical standpoint. Um, I'm about as black in this country as it comes. Um, nice
Beautiful.
chocolate. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you.
There you go.
Chocolate skin. I have a little ghetto chip in my tooth. I've never really
Still
bothered
look
too much
good.
about. Thank you.
Still look.
And my name is Tyrone Jackson. So I mean, I could.
Call him.
I mean, stereotypically, I'm about as black as it comes. Luckily, I actually learned how to speak and I write pretty well and I speak English pretty well. So
Yes.
that's probably the thing that separates me from. But other than that, I'm black. I went to a black college, lived in a black neighborhood, lived in ghettos in 3 or 4 states. Been black and had the black experience, which included poverty, single parent, if you want to even call it that, hardship, struggle, and all these other negative this and that. But one day I decided when I graduated from college that um, I wanted to succeed in an extraordinary way. I wanted to be a benefit to my community. And I took a real assessment of myself and I said, my God, I can't really write. I was like, I can't really communicate an idea clearly. And I said, I don't know how to make my own money. So, how can I be self reliant? How can I be a benefit to someone else if I can't even really care for myself? And that critique of myself led me on a mission to educate myself and to learn how business works and how entrepreneurship works. And the funny thing is, the more that I learned, the more that I took responsibility for my own state of being, the less I had in common with most black people. Odd, very odd. In fact, when I started my business, I actually had a fundraiser for the choir because I'm a singing person. You know,
Oh
I
yeah,
play
and a
drums,
drummer. Oh yeah,
and
awesome.
so is my wife. And we came through this great institution, the university choir, and we said we'd raise like something like $1,000 or something
Yeah,
like that for them.
500. I think yeah, like somewhere around there. And then
Somewhere
we
up in there,
had the news come
yeah, we
out.
had the news come.
Ooh, we had we had it all decked out.
Everybody's waiting, and
Ooh.
so all the university choir had to do was come and maybe sing something and accept the check that we had for them. You know, they stood us up. We were out there. No one ever
Cold
showed
man.
up. Just the director. No student. Not one student showed up, and that stuck out with me. There was another event where we went when we got our business started, and there was an event at the school, and we decided to go there to sell hot dogs. And we have these gourmet hot dogs being shipped everywhere, and we're asking like $2 or $3 from them. We barely sold anything because the people couldn't see past the fact that our frankfurters were $2 or $3, and so they wanted something cheap. They didn't really value what it was that
Had
we were
our
offering.
mission.
And so the point that I'm making is when you talk about people that are in a state of victimhood, when you don't aspire for more, or when you actually appeal to the victim, everybody loses. That person loses because that that person loses because they never come out of their state of victimhood.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody around them loses because that person can't really contribute the maximum because they feel like everybody should be catering to them. And then thirdly, if you deny that person the recognition, the hatred and the frustration within them that they never addressed because they felt like everyone else should bend to them, that comes out and it becomes projected. And what we're looking at is textbook, like right now with riots in the street.
Oh.
The people from the Democratic Party that have spent entire political careers decades, promoting and rewarding and nurturing the victim within black people and the hurtful past. They have now created such hate and animosity toward white people, toward America as founding, and toward our republic. To now they're willing to destroy the entire democratic process and the entire republic just so they can have the person that they wanted in office. It's
Right.
absolutely mind blowing, but
But
this is
look,
the real
that's
danger.
textbook though. I mean, this is textbook example of in the tactics of war called a divide and conquer.
Right.
Divide and conquer. You can look it up for yourselves, but it has happened in multiple wars. What they do, they cause stage ruckus, or they even if it is legit, what they do is they feed off of these little things that happen in society from and create victims out of minority.
Mm-hmm.
Does this sound familiar? And then what they do is they create a civil conflict where um, basically they make one side hate the other side. I mean, essentially.
And in doing
And
that, they
so,
collapse the government
and
and
they
take
collapse
over
the
everything.
government. So, but here, what makes America so great is that you have all of these powers, all these different individuals that are together, working together harmoniously. If something happens, for the most part, if something happens where one half don't agree, which is like 50-50 when it comes to Republican and Democrat, then they know that at least they have the power to be able to on the next election that they could uh, elect their other officials in office the next time. But yeah, I want to go ahead and
Yeah, the thing is, honestly, like at the base of this, there's a very principle. There's a very simple principle, and it's called the principle of responsibility for your own life. Maybe that's not even a principle, but maybe I made that up.
well,
But it's the fundamental. You're born, and you're born, and the one priority that you have is to discover yourself and to create. No one can do that for you.
especially as an American.
There's the
Yeah.
problem is we have a lot of people in this country that are taking their personal responsibility or their obligation to themselves, and they're putting it on politicians. They're putting it on the school system. They're putting it on all these other people. And what we're realizing right now is the result of neglecting your own personal obligation. The thing is, we have to stop that. If we're going to grow People need to make it a matter of priority to learn to care for themselves, to learn to actually pursue the things that they want for themselves and not make other people pay for it. If you want something, go out and get it. No one has to help you if you really want it. Go and get what it is that you want. And as long as there's not a system that is actively putting your foot on your neck to prevent you from getting, which there isn't here in America, there's not really an excuse. I mean, ultimately, the only reason you would not get what it is that you want is you don't believe that you can have it. And
There's no excuses here in America, my
that may be
friends.
conscious or it may be unconscious. If it's unconscious, you need to acknowledge the fact that you don't truly believe enough to put the effort to go ahead and get what you want. I mean, again, I started from nothing and have been gainfully unemployed, self-employed, an entrepreneur for over 11 years. I'm as black as they come. And
Mm-hmm.
I've done business with CMA, Country Music Awards. I've done business with Cigna Healthcare, with Driscoll Healthcare, with banking institutions, with universities. I've had contracts with what is the name of the insurance place?
Oh, well, nationwide?
Nationwide
Yeah.
Insurance. We've actually had operations within their headquarters. We've done a lot of business in a lot of different places, and
Whitworth
being
Country Club.
black has country clubs. Being black has not affected it one way or the other. We've never
Mm.
asked for special recognition for being a minority business. We went in, we offered a product, people loved what we had, and
That
they
was it.
yes. But
And
the key
mhm.
is before we did that, we always pre-paved the way with our inner body. That's the difference. And everybody has the ability to do that. And really, if you claim foul because you're black, you're just making excuses.
All right. And oh, just to clarify what he was saying, when he said that did not identify with most black people, what he was really saying was he does not associate himself with the negative attributes that the African American community tend to hold on to.
Right. I am not a victim.
Not a victim.
I
Now,
don't need special
you're black and
privileges.
beautiful. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm black. I'm beautiful. But I mean,
But you don't.
I don't need special advantages just because I'm a black business or because we're a black owned business. I mean, just period. Like,
Mhm.
if I have a great product, I consider myself to be the best business in the area that I am in.
Mhm.
And that's regardless of color, regardless of capital. What I do better than everyone else. Period. And I want to show you how to tap into that part of you that's better than anyone else. And black people, if you don't believe me, that's fine. But if you have the curiosity to find out what part of you is better than anyone else, contact me. That is my challenge. Speak to me, send me a message, and we'll work on it. We're not going to talk about how black people are superior or inferior, but we're going to talk about what you have to offer the world as an individual that God resides within. And we're going to talk about how to tap into that and how to bring it out so that you can be a benefit to humankind, not just black people. This black white nonsense,
That's all
it's
staged.
just
It's not
garbage.
real.
It's
It's not
garbage.
real.
The point is you are a human being. Do you have benefit to the rest of humankind or don't you? That's really the bottom line. And so we're gonna talk about that. And when you actually realize that God is within you and that you are just as capable of doing anything as any other human being that's ever walked the face of the earth, then you'll start to discover joy and confidence that will transcend the color of your skin. And that's where we need to be at as black people. So this message is addressed to you because the position that you're taking is one of outright victimhood, and there's nothing that's going to come of that. The law of attraction will just give you more reasons to feel like a victim, and I can't identify with you. So
No.
again, this will be my first and last message addressing this because we won't even be in the same place. But if you can hear what it is that I'm saying and you want to discover the better aspect of you, the aspirational aspect of you, please drop us a message and we'll be more than happy to talk about that. All right?